What are you craving for? What is it you feel like a hunger for? I know especially in the evening when I'm tired and I'm frustrated and I feel like, this day didn't go as I wish it would. Then a good tub of ice cream, well, maybe not the whole tub, but half a tub of chocolate mousse trap. And I like the extreme chocolate mousse trap because it has chocolate ice cream, it has fudge in it, and it has peanut butter cups in it. Whoa, triple death by chocolate ice cream. So that's one thing. And I eat it and I eat it, and if I eat too much, I regret it. Then I feel like, yikes, I overdid it. So talking about hunger and what we're craving for, I think it's very natural that we're craving for things. And depending on the time of the day, depending on where we are, we have our favorite foods, and we crave for something. Like when I ate too much ice cream, I'm craving for something to off-balance that. So sometimes I eat celery sticks just to, yeah. You're shaking your head, you're right. I'm beyond help in some areas of my life. Yes, so here are the patterns, but overall in our lives, what do we need? What are our basic needs that we need, we crave for, we're longing for? And there is a psychologist, Abraham Maslow, who said there are several levels of need. One is we need food, shelter, clothes, basic thing. You may, and that's the foundation. If you don't have that, forget it. You're toast. So first need is, and there is the deep spiritual wisdom of the Salvation Army and others who say, to a hungry person, bread is the gospel. Cannot preach to anyone about the Spirit if they're hungry, if they're lacking the basic needs. So it's so important that our basic needs are covered. The next step up from basic needs is relationship, family, love, connections. So it's kind of where we belong to one another. When I ask people, what are you grateful for? What feeds your soul? What is so important for you? They always say family and friends. I could not live with it. We're longing for relationship. And when we're lonely, when we feel lost and outsiders, our souls are craving for relationships. So that's a higher level. If we have all the food, everything we need, basic things covered, the relationships, the love, the craving. Now, beyond that, coming spiritual needs, longing of the souls, where we try to have some meaning, some purpose. It's kind of some good reason to get out of bed, for example. It's kind of good to have something to live for, some purpose, something that, yay, I have some goal. And together with that, spiritual needs, longings are, what are they? Well, that we're longing for, that we need some hope, some longing, some openness. And the Bible describes it like, in the Psalms, as the deer pants or longs for living water, so does my soul long for God. Imagine the deer in the wilderness, really dry out there, just panting, I need water. And our souls are just like deer who just need water. So there is a thirst that is not physical, but a thirst that is spiritual for our souls. And here comes the conversation in with Jesus, with the woman at the well, where they're talking like, she thinks like, give me water that I don't have to come to the well anymore, the physical water so I don't get thirsty anymore. And Jesus talks about a spiritual water for our souls. What refreshes our souls? What nurtures our spirits? What is it that we need beyond our body? And that's where this passage comes in. And Jesus says, when you're hungry, hungry not for physical food, but when you have this longing, this craving in your heart, Jesus says, I'm the bread of life. I will feed your soul. I'll satisfy your hunger. And that's a different hunger. That's a different hunger. That's a hunger that ice cream cannot satisfy. Unfortunately, I wish it would. It does not. And booze cannot satisfy it. And you can add any and all addictions, because addictions are ways to try to satisfy that hunger, that longing, but they don't keep their promise. So what are we longing for? What are the deep longings and cravings our souls with which we can come and open up to God? One for me is longing for home. And it's a long, even in the Bible, it's the long journey of the people of Israel. They're homeless, they're wandering, they're lost in the wilderness. They want to go home, and home in a broader sense than just the house where I grew up in. Home, a longing to belong, a home with God. And even when people pass at the end, often people have visions of loved ones coming, parents, grandparents, almost waiting for them. Come home. And we talk about going home with our passing. So there is a place, or there is a state, a longing in us that no physical place can satisfy. No beaches, no Vegas, no vacation home. Nothing can satisfy that deep longing but the living God when we open up to it. So when I feel like craving for home or longing for home, and through the years, sometimes I feel just homesick. And it's really no place that I could go that would satisfy that. It's just, I feel. And I think that is one place in me and in us when we're longing, where God can fill us, where God can reach us, when we're open in our longing and with our need and our craving. And there is the wisdom of Blaise Pascal, who said there is a hole in our hearts, the shape of God. So it's almost like there is a longing that is meant to be there because it's through which we connect with God. Or Rumi, I think, said, the wound is where the light enters you. So when we're wounded, not physically, but when there is some brokenness in us, that's somehow where God wants to reach us and touch us. What are other aspects? What else do we crave for? Home. I think a deep sense of love and belonging is in our hearts. To just be loved for who I am, that I don't have to bend over backwards, that I don't have to hide, that I'm just can be myself, true to who I am. There is a longing in me also that I hear with people for a deep inner peace. Some people have been hurt deeply and they live lives as if they're haunted. PTSD or other words, whatever words you can use for it, but there is a deep restlessness, a deep anxiety, feeling torn apart, haunted, trying to find just a deep sense of peace, a longing to be at peace. And whoever has ever wrestled and fought and battled with cancer, just peace, a deeper peace. I think there is a longing instilled in each and every one of our hearts for freedom, where we feel like, and that's the whole old story of the people in Israel when they were captives in Israel. They're longing for freedom. It's that same longing for freedom of those who were enslaved, whichever generation, whichever country, here in the United States too, longing for freedom, to be set free. And in all these longings and all these cravings, I think is an opportunity for us to connect with the living God, for the living God to feed our souls. So where and how do you express your longing and open up and let God, the living one, feed your soul, your craving, your longing? What feeds your soul? And do you keep open up, and invite the living one to touch you right there, where you're hurting, where you're craving, where you're longing, where you're hungry?